So you want a Benelli BN125, as it's coming up to summer, the weather is beautiful all the time, and you want your first bike and you're looking into the Benelli BN125. And as I've had this bike for a year and a half now, coming on 2 years, I think I'm experienced enough on this bike to tell you if it's worth it or not. And I already did a review last year after my first 1,000 miles, and now I've done nearly 7,000. I've done 6,000 more miles, 6,000 more experience. So I think I should do an updated review because I'll be doing my A2 soon, and this bike will be going soon. Not like soon, but it's in the works. It'll be going soon. And I'm here to tell you whether it's worth it or not. So the Benelli BN features a 770mm seat height, which for a short person like me, I'm 5'5", and I can bend my knees fairly comfortably on this bike. Like, very fairly bent, to be fair. And I'm not sure on my inseam, so I'm not sure, but this is the seat height in inches. And it's also got a 13.5 litre fuel tank, and I normally get about maybe 200 mile out of a tank. Sometimes more, sometimes less. Depends how I ride. And because I do a lot of dual carriageway riding, so I'm always in the high RPM, I probably get about 180 to a tank. Well, until like I'm at my last bar. And it's got a wet weight of 142 kilograms. And so this feels like a feather underneath me. It is so light and it's so easy to flick around corners, throw it about. It weighs nothing, and if you drop it, which I'm going to be honest, that's another disclaimer, I'll show like the scratches. I have dropped this bike a fair number of times and I've crashed it once. So keep that in mind. My bike is not up to standard. It's not really, just let it roll. It's not really up to standard. It doesn't look great. There's scratches everywhere. I have dropped it. I've crashed it once. I've crashed it once and I've dropped it a fair number of times as of these scratches. The ergonomics are fairly comfortable on this bike. But I have got an aftermarket bar because, again, I crashed this thing and I've got an aftermarket bar called Fat Bar. So my bars are actually wider than the stock ones. So I can't actually remember what the original ones feel like. But I remember it was being comfortable. But even with these bars, it's still very comfortable. You're sat upright. Even me, that I'm short, I am sat fairly upright on this bike. And I have got aftermarket mirrors, so I can't really comment on the stock ones. And you can tell, I don't know if you can see on the camera, but it's rusted on the inside of them. So always get plugs for those. I made the mistake of not getting plugged. In terms of reliability, that's the big question because it is a Chinese bike. So far, with the engine and gearbox, I've had no problems. However, I did have it. I was 2,000 miles into this bike, and my original stock chain did snap off. And I do regularly clean my chains. I do it every 2 week or every 250 mile, which is more frequent than normal. And ever since that one snapped off, I do it every Sunday now. So I do it once a week. And my original one snapped off, but I've done 4,500 miles on this current chain and no problems, no, at all. The electronics wise, I've always had problems with my left indicator, where it just sometimes doesn't work, or it flashes repeatedly, or the switch just doesn't work at all. But I always get it fixed. Bennett's, where I got this bike from, always fix it. They're always spot on. I've had it where it doesn't start sometimes. It wasn't a battery issue, it's just loose cables. But still, it does it sometimes. Even when it's warmed up, it cuts out. Even I've got this clip here. Literally before I was about to record this video. But in terms of that, the only problems I've really had are electronic, where the switches don't sometimes work, and that's about it. And also, my keyhole, I don't know if you can see it, it's just not there anymore. I've had that replaced twice and it just always comes off, so there's that to consider as well. But apart from that, it's very minor issues that I've had, and it's not every BN model. I've heard people that's got 10k miles on this thing and never had a single fault. Mine could just be from like poor management. Like I said, I've dropped this plenty of times. So just keep that in mind just in case. But if you look after it better than I have, you'll probably have no issues whatsoever. The top speed on this thing, I've clocked it at 74 or 76. But that's just on this dash. That it was probably about 60, if we're going to be fairly honest, because this dash is very optimistic. It's always higher than you're actually going like your GPS speed. But so, It's a 125. It's got 11 brake horsepower. You are not going to be doing incredible fast speeds. You're not going to be setting any lap records or speed trap records. So 125, you're meant to be learning on it, and it's perfect for town riding, which I used to use this a lot for. Now I use it on dual carriageways because of where I work. The brakes, I've got custom levers on. I've got a custom clutch, I've got a custom brake lever. My rear brake lever is rusted, as in that clip, but that's from when I dropped it. It's the exact same one from when I dropped it and crashed this bike, so that will probably need replacing, because all the metal came scraping off and now it's rusted, so I probably do need a new one. It normally redlines at about 10,500 RPM, that's where mine starts to like redline. But the brakes are fairly solid. My front one has always felt a bit weak. I would have liked it to be a bit snappier. But again, that's just my personal preference. I prefer my brakes to be snappy and strong. This one's a bit, you have to really put your pressure on to feel it. But I don't know if that's from when I crashed it and I had to get a new lever put on. I don't know, but it's always felt weak to me. Let's do a quick engine sound test. As expected, as a 125, sounds like a lawnmower. Let's get out on the road and we can talk more about how the bike feels to ride. So as I mentioned before, this has 11 brake horsepower. It's very underwhelming, but in your first 3 gears, you've got all that power. You can fly around, you can just shoot yourself off of the line at like a red light if you just want to get straight off at a red light. It's got plenty of power between, like, see, I'm losing up this hill in 5th, so go to 4th. And it's just not going anywhere. So you might want to go to 3rd. And again, still not gaining that much. So the power and torque levels are just very weak, but again, as expected, it's a 125. Where this bike really shines is corners and towns, because of that 142 kilogram wet weight. It just feels like you're riding a feather. It is so light, it's so flickable, and I've never had issues like riding this thing around corners. It feels so light. There's a sharp corner coming up, I can show you that now. And the clutch is so light and the throttle is so responsive that rev matches are really, really comfortable to do. The bike is more than happy to go around corners and rev match because of how light that clutch is and how easy this throttle is. But it's very responsive. You're down and you've got the power basically instantly. There's like maybe a few milliseconds in delays. Like there, the rev matching, fluid, clean, perfect. Oh, that's another thing I've actually got to mention. I mentioned the gearbox I've not had an issue with. That's a lie. It's just come back to me now. The last few months I have had it. I've taken it to garages and they say it's fine. And they say it might just be a one-off thing. It's not a one-off thing, and I don't know what's wrong with my gearbox, but it will jump a gear. So I'll shift into 4th. I've looked at my dash, it's in 4th, and sometimes it will jump its way back down to 3 on its own. And that can be very dangerous sometimes, especially if I'm like high in the RPMs on 4, because my rear wheel might lock if I'm high in the RPMs in 4th and it downshifts to 3rd on its own. So that's might just be a me bike thing again. It might just be my specific BN because of how many times it's been dropped and the time I crashed it. I did crash it in my 2nd month of riding. So it was over a year ago. It was December 2024. But besides that, everything has been okay with this bike and the previous issues I mentioned before with the electronics. It is very responsive, it's very light. Like I said, the clutch is light, but it's so easy to shift gears. And on this bike, it's so easy to find neutral. When I was looking into getting bikes, I saw these memes of like, never been able to find neutral. I find it every single time on this bike. I can find it every time without fail. It's such an easy, soft click, you can feel it, you can feel where you are with the gearbox. It's so responsive and you can easily go into neutral or 1st or 2nd, round those 3. But again, this is where it doesn't shine. A slight incline, this is not a steep hill at all. And I'm fully on the throttle. And it's just staying there. It doesn't want to go anywhere else. But again, I keep mentioning it just feels so light. It's very forgiving, this bike. It will forgive you for all your mistakes. Even when you crash it, it'll even not get damaged that much, because the only thing I had to replace really was my handlebars. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it was informative enough. I didn't really script this video, I just went off memory. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you are convinced to buy this bike as your first bike, because it is a very forgiving bike for your first bike. For new riders, especially short riders, this is a great first bike. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.